Coming up on the Angus Report, the road to recovery for ranchers affected by monumental wildfires.
Proposed USDA budget cuts cause concern for the ag community.
CattleFax senior analyst Kevin Good shares insight into the protein market.
ABC News will see its day in court over lean, finely textured beef.
Maximizing good genetics in the feedlot and beyond.
Then, along the trail with Regional Manager Riddell Tyner.
This is the Angus Report. Hello and welcome to the Angus Report. I'm Crystal Albers.
And I'm Jenna McCrell.
Our top news this week. Ranchers affected by the historic wildfires in Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas are beginning to pick up the pieces of what's left following the massively destructive wildfires that burned hundreds of thousands of acres of prairie grass. In Kansas alone, more than 700,000 acres burned, resulting in the largest wildfire the state has ever experienced. More than 3/4 of that acreage burned in Clark and Comanche counties, and Ashland, Kansas has become the local gathering point for recovery efforts. Now, in the weeks following the fire, semis loaded down with big round bales and fencing supplies have filled the region's highways, many with American flags displayed proudly, showing the nation that in challenging times, rural America stands together. Kendall Kay, mayor of Ashland, Kansas, shares more.
The relief efforts come from far and wide. I mean, from our neighbors in Nebraska, Missouri, Colorado, Oklahoma, then way out beyond that. I mean, the loads that come in from Ohio today and beyond, each semi-load of hay that comes in, each semi-load of supplies that come in. And supplies, fencing material, and hay are the two main things I would say at this point that is probably the biggest need. A lot of what you see here, we've unloaded some here, but we try to push as much out to the ranches and spread it out from various points out there as well, just so we don't have to unload and reload right here. We've lost everything we've had, and so to rebuild it, I mean, it truly is amazing how much has been donated, but we're going to need it, and we don't always like to be on the receiving end of things. It's much more fun to give, but to see how those in the heartland come together to support each other in a time of need is greatly, greatly appreciated, and thank you doesn't seem enough. It really doesn't, but that's all I can offer. Truly, it's overwhelming, and we're so grateful, and all I can say is thank you.
The Angus media team recently visited Southwest Kansas to hear from those affected by the fires, and we'll be sharing more on next week's show. Visit angus.org for resources on how you can contribute to recovery efforts.
President Donald Trump is catching heat over proposed budget cuts to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which would eliminate $4.7 billion from the agency's overall budget. That would leave $17.9 billion to cover USDA's programs and services. The budget proposal would cut nearly $500 million by eliminating a rural water and wastewater loan and grant program, according to an article by Reuters. Additional target cuts include staffing at county-level USDA service centers, an international program that supplies U.S. commodities to countries in need, and reduced spending on supplemental nutrition programs. Reuters says that the proposed budget does not cover mandatory spending established by law, including farm subsidies, but only discretionary programs where lawmakers can adjust spending.
With the growing cattle inventory and supply of U.S. beef, the industry is faced with marketing that product in new ways, both domestically and abroad. Overall protein supplies, including beef, pork, and poultry, continue to rise, and CattleFax senior analyst Kevin Good says an expanding export interest will help hold value moving forward.
We've expanded the beef cow herd by over 2 million head over the last 2 years, which means we've got bigger supplies for at least the next 2 to 3 years to work through. And of course, pork and poultry supplies are up as well. They're profitable with the lower input cost. So you roll that all together, we've got more protein to consume not only domestically, but hopefully that trade number will continue to grow so we can export more as well. You know, we've got some headwinds with the strong U.S. dollar. A major headwind is we think as far as access into some of the markets in beef, particularly China. Longer term, still some very positive as we think about trade going forward.
After 5 years in waiting, legal action over ABC News coverage of lean, finely textured beef, or LFTB, is expected to be heard this June in a South Dakota district court. Beef Products Incorporated filed the lawsuit in the fall of 2012, following a series of ABC News reports that provided misleading information concerning LFTB, causing a public outcry over the product that was deemed safe by USDA. According to a report from Beef Magazine, BPI has claimed damages of $1.9 billion, a figure that could be tripled under South Dakota's Agricultural Food Products Disparagement Act to $5.7 billion. The state district court dropped ABC's Diane Sawyer from the lawsuit, but rather focuses on the decisions made by a senior correspondent. We'll share more on this story as it develops.
As breeding season for many cattlemen begins creeping up, now's the time to establish management practices that ensure reproductive success. Tyler Dolman serves as the assistant professor at Iowa State's College of Veterinary Medicine and says while producers can't control Mother Nature, by having a strong vaccination program, cattlemen should be able to reduce breeding issues caused by bacteria and disease.
When we look at the whole of reproductive performance, I mean, there's a ton of factors that go into it. Whether we're looking at the conception side of fertility on bulls and whether they're herd bulls or AI sires. Additionally, looking at pregnancy rates, so are we able to maintain those pregnancies throughout gestation, or do we run into some early embryonic loss that we need to kind of manage? Of course, we've gotten a lot better in the past 20 years of vaccinating our cattle, especially for the viral components, especially when we look at IBR and BVD. But there are some still herds out there that don't vaccinate for it and need to be proactive about it. We want to put as many calves on the ground that are strong and healthy and can actually be weaned, because that's where producers make their money.
American Angus Association members wishing to participate in the organization's annual convention of delegates this fall are encouraged to act now to ensure their voting eligibility. According to the association bylaws, only eligible voting members can nominate, be nominated, vote, or be elected at the annual convention. To be considered eligible, individuals must meet 3 eligibility requirements before 4:30 p.m. Central Time on Friday, April 7th. They should be active, regular, or life members of the association, 18 years of age or older, and have registered at least one animal or completed at least $250 of business with the association or Angus Genetics Incorporated within the preceding 12 months. Members can determine their eligibility status online through AAA login. Visit angus.org for more information.
When we return, a Kansas feeder explains how they manage quality genetics for top performance.
Then a day in the life of Angus Regional Manager as we catch up with Riddell Tyner and his travels through Texas and New Mexico.
Visit angus.media to continue watching this episode of The Angus Report.
This isn't a 9-to-5 job. So when you check the pants one last time, put away the tools, and make sure everything's ready to hand off to the night crew. It's not the clock that tells you the day is over. It's the confidence of knowing you got it right. It's having one less thing to worry about when the sun goes down. So when you see the signs of BRD, choose confidence. Choose Zuprevo from Merck Animal Health. Talk to your veterinarian about Zuprevo for BRD treatment.
Did you know that your checkoff works to grow demand for U.S. beef in more than 80 countries? Did you know export markets add more than $250 in value to each head? Did you know your checkoff works to develop, defend, and dispel in an effort to expand international markets? While you're focused on managing your beef business, your checkoff is developing new foreign markets and defending those where U.S. beef is currently sold. Get to know your checkoff at mybeefcheckoff.com.
We're in 3 separate locations, but we actually operated as one feed yard. The total capacity is around 45,000 cattle.
We do mostly calf fed. And using PredictGen has been a good deal for us. It's a DNA test, and we can test for marbling, yield grade, and tenderness.
When we first started with PredictGen, I'd bought some first calf heifers. We tested the heifers as well as the cows, just to see how accurate it would be. The calves that came from those heifers had almost the same test scores as the cows did. So we kind of knew we were on the right track.
When we're going from ranch to rail, we want to have the best product out there.
I do think it would be an advantage to buy cattle based on this test. It's going to be exciting to watch this progress over the next 10 years.
It's unbelievable where we're going. I mean, I'm glad we started using it because there's dang sure a place for it, and it's going to get even better. Producing the best beef we can for the consumer puts more money in our pocket.
Today's beef consumer has questions. BQA has the answers. Your beef quality assurance certification allows you to share a story that assures customers that you are responsibly raising a safe, wholesome, and healthy beef supply. Becoming BQA certified just became even more convenient with a new interactive training experience that is online and available 24/7. So what are you waiting for? Get started today by visiting bqa.org.